So, students, today we will be talking about reported speech. Let me make you understand this concept better in a simpler way. So, I'm a teacher and I have an instruction to be given in my class. So, I call the student in the staff room as I don't have enough time to go personally and tell it to the entire class. So, Pratiksha, tell the class tomorrow there will be a test. Okay, teacher. Now, Pratiksha goes to the class and delivers the message of the teacher. Class, there is an announcement to be made. The teacher said, tomorrow there will be a test. Now, Pratiksha goes home and she tells her mom about the test. So, she is going to narrate the story to her mother.
So, how was your day today?
Mummy, the teacher said that she will be conducting a test the next day.
So, all the best for your test.
So here, if you noticed, Pratiksha delivered the exact same words of the teacher in the class. That's known as the direct speech. Later, when she went home, she told her mother about the announcement using the indirect speech. Direct speech is the reporting of speech by repeating the actual words of a speaker. So, let's take an example. What if you're talking to your friend on the phone? You're having a conversation. How would you write down what you said and what your friend said? Would you write it down in some way like this? Imagine you say, I said, how are you? And then maybe my friend said, I am fine. So, is this how you would write it? Maybe. If you do, then what you're basically doing is that you're taking the exact same words that were spoken by you and your friend and placing them in the inverted commas like this. When you take the exact words spoken by someone and you directly write that down, we call this part of the sentence direct speech. So, direct speech. This is helpful when you want to quote something when somebody has said exactly in the words they have narrated. So, we normally put these exact words said by someone inside the quotation marks. So now, this was for direct speech. If I want to say the exact same thing but in a different way, and I don't want to say the exact words that were told by me and my friend, how would I write that? Let's see. Perhaps you could write, I asked my friend how he or she was. In this case, I've said the exact same thing over here. I've said, how are you? And here I've said, I asked my friend how he or she was. It means the same thing, but I've written them in two different ways. In the first part, I have used direct speech. In the second part, I have actually converted the direct speech into something we call reported speech or indirect speech. So, reported speech is a kind of speech that tells you what something was said without using the exact words. So, now that we know what direct speech and indirect or reported speech is, let's take a look at the rules for changing sentences into direct speech to sentences in the reported or indirect speech. So, rule number 1. Let's take an example here. Imagine we have the sentence, David said, I am going. So, here we can clearly see that the exact words stated by David were, I am going. So, we can know that this is in which speech? Yes, it's in the direct speech. So, rule number 1 for changing into reported speech is that you get rid of the quotation marks. And we need to get rid of the comma before the direct speech. So, let's remove those and then move on to our next rule, which states that we can, which means is optional, to use a that before or between reported speech and the direct speech. So, here in this case, we have in the reported part, David said. It's not in quotes. So it's not direct speech. And this is the direct speech. I am going. So if you want to change this whole sentence into reported speech, I could if I wanted to place a that in between these two parts. So that would become David said that he was going. So I've placed that in between. If I want, I can remove that. It depends on me if I want to or not. Now the third rule is that when you have direct speech, you'll see that I've started with a capital letter. So whenever we want to convert direct speech into reported speech, we have to change the capital letter to small letter in the reported speech, except for I, because regardless if it's in the direct speech or the reported speech, I will remain capitalized. And now the last part is your pronouns. Now, depending on the reporting verb that you have and the pronoun of the reporting verb, you have to change or you might have to change the pronoun of your direct speech. So we'll look at that one by one. Let's take a look at an example of a sentence in order to understand how we change pronouns when you're talking about direct to reported speech. She said, I have to leave. Now, what is the reporting verb here? Now, the reporting part is she said. Therefore, the reporting verb here is said. And she is the pronoun of the reporting verb. And the pronoun of the direct speech here is I. Now, when you have a pronoun in the direct speech in the first person, which is in this case I, for example, I, me, we, are. All of these are first person pronouns. So I here is in the first person. Then you take a look at the pronoun of the reporting verb. If it is in the second or third person, as in this case, he, she, they, then you have to change this pronoun to the direct speech according to the pronoun of the reporting verb. So if she said something, have to use she again to introduce what she said to me. So she said I have to leave will become she said she had to live. So in this case you can see what I have done. I have changed the first person pronoun based on the pronoun of the reporting verb and I have turned it into she. So you have to understand from the point of view of the speaker and the hearer what relationship it's going to be, because she is saying something about herself. So if I am saying she, it will remain she because she has said something. Now what happens if you have a sentence like this? We said we won. So if you have a sentence like this, you can see that we in the first person and the pronoun of the reporting verb is also in the first person. So in this case we don't change, it remains the same. All you have to do is change this into the reported speech. So it will be like we said we had won. So if you have the pronoun in the direct speech in the first person and the pronoun of the reporting verb in the first person, then we don't change the pronouns. Now what happens when you have a second person pronoun? Let's take a look at an example. He said to me, you lied. In this case, you can see that we have a second person pronoun you for the direct speech. Whenever you come across a second person pronoun, it will be changed according to the object of the reporting verb. So, he said to me, he is the subject, said is the reporting verb, and me is the object. So, if I have you here, it will change according to me. So, how should I change this sentence to the reporting speech? It will be, he said that I, which is related to me. So, when I'm talking about me and you is the second person, I will be in the first person. So he said that I had lied. So you can see what I have done here. For the second person, it changes according to the object of the reporting verb. Now, if you have a sentence in the third person, for example, they said they are well. So, if I want to change this into the reported speech, then would not undergo any change. So, we can change it into they said they were well, or they said that they were well. So that was all about what exactly reported speech and direct speech is, and what are the rules that we have to keep in mind for changing direct speech to reported speech, and we looked at the changes that we have in the pronouns in the sentence. So that's all for today. See you soon in our next class. Till then, stay safe.